Commission meeting for January the 8th, 2026. We operate under the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 26 of the Town of Danvers General Bylaws, the Wetlands Protection Bylaw. After each applicant presents his or her request and the board has had time to ask questions and discuss the project, we will accept questions from the audience. Because this is a public meeting, it is required by law that you give your name and your address before you speak. Although we may disagree on the issues raised, all persons present during this meeting are expected to be civil to all other meeting attendees. This includes members of the commission, staff, abutters, concerned citizens, property owners, and project applicants. We also request that you confine your questions to the project and only as it pertains to the Wetlands Act. We cannot handle, nor do we have jurisdiction over matters such as noise or traffic. All problems not related to the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Danvers Wetlands Protection Bylaw must be taken up with the other appropriate boards. First order of business tonight will be a roll call. Peter Wilson is present. Lorraine Drapek.
Present.
Mary Height.
Present.
Paul McNulty.
Here, present.
And Michael Splain.
Yeah.
First order of business on our agenda is a notice of intent for 80 Water Street, DEP file number 14-1433. The applicant is Peter McKinnon, and the applicant has requested to continue to our next meeting, which is on January 22nd, 2026. So if someone can make a motion, we will continue the hearing until then.
I'll move to continue the public hearing for 80 Water Street, DEP 14-1433 to January 22nd, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so kick the can down the road. Next up is a notice of intent for 9 Jacobs Landing, DEP file number 14-1445. The applicant is Jeffrey Bunk. And are you here by yourselves tonight, or?
No, my representative evidently is running late, I don't know what the story is, but I'm sure he'll be right along.
Okay, why don't we just table that for a moment, and we'll just continue on. We'll do the old and new business.
Thank you.
You're welcome. First order of the old or new business is minutes from our December 11th, 2025. Has everyone had a chance to look at those minutes and
Yeah.
digest the new format with the discussion?
Everyone okay with, I know there's going to be some changes along the way. Jen is working on that, so any comments, feedback, anything, feel free to reach out to her. She's open to all
And that's a
suggestions.
standardized approach to,
Yeah, because right now, planning, zoning, and conservation, and I think 2 other boards have all different ways that the minutes are done, so we're trying to make it kind of a universal format.
okay. Is there any other discussion on minutes, or do we just move to accept them? Someone can make a motion?
Motion that we...
Accept the minutes.
Accept the minutes. There we go.
From December, from the date?
The
Oh,
date.
sorry. Sorry, where are we here? Motion to accept the minutes from December 11th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have to abstain, I wasn't here.
Good way.
Yeah, but you have to read those.
I
so
did
you-
read 'em.
You can get up to speed if
Yeah,
we're.
I did read them, I just have to abstain from voting.
If you're all set, it's, the floor is yours.
How are you? Luke
Good.
Fabry, Geological Field Services. So we had a site visit yesterday
Tuesday.
and
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thursdays? Yeah.
Tuesday.
And so taking the Harbor Master's comments previously, we have rotated the orientation of the dock, of the entire, actually, gangway. I rotated it 5.5 degrees to the east, and that caused the this corner to come back 5 feet and this to come forward. So we're 25 feet back from the channel now, and we're parallel to it. So it's not kind of cockeyed as it was before. And we still sit on the concrete curb, if you will, that's part of sits at a little bit of an angle, but the entire pier sits on that curb. There was comments back from the harbor master that he wanted us to pull it back even further. But we have, and he referenced a section of the Danvers regulations, section 4, paragraph 1D, which requires an 18-inch minimum clearance for the floats on a non-shellfish tidal flat. This is actually a shellfish tidal flat, so it should be 24 inches, which is the next sentence. But that's a minimum requirement. It's not a maximum requirement. Right now, we have 4.9 feet, and we meet all the criteria for the town regulations, the state regulations, and the federal regulations as it exists now. And I don't really have anything else to say other than I think that it's fully permittable as it exists, and we've accommodated the rotation. We're actually set back further from the channel than the next floats up. And I've run the river quite a bit over my life. I think the pinch point the harbor master is concerned about occurs after these floats coming into Danvers. I really don't think that this is an issue here. The river's about 1,200 feet wide, the channel's 200 feet wide, and there's sufficient room for the boats to navigate this river. And that's really all I have for you this evening.
I'll speak for the harbor master if I can, and correct me
Sure.
if I'm misinterpreting. But I think what he's saying with the depth of the floats that you have there, you're out farther than the minimum requires, and he just wants to have a shorter pier in any case, any applicant that comes in, nothing.
Can you scroll up just a little bit? The shorter pier, we're talking like a few feet difference. We're right on the edge. If you look at this, see how we're on the edge of this embankment? So if we pull this pier back, just even 6-7 feet, we're losing water, and what's going to happen is the boat that sits on the outside of this is going to ground at low tide. So that the very thing that you're trying to avoid doing, which is impacting the tidal flats, is we have the ability not to ground. If we pull it back 5 or 6 feet, we're going to start grounding. Because we're right on the edge of the break and slope. You can see how it's 12
Did you have that
meters.
somewhere on your drawing that showed that?
Down.
I
It's
think-
next
Yeah,
level
it's-
down.
If you scroll up, you'll
Or
see.
down, yeah.
This way?
There we are. So you can see even the front of our floats, we lose, these are in 2-foot increments. From the front of the float to the back of the float, we lose 2 feet. So he's looking at just this front of the float.
Yeah.
If I come back more, what's going to happen is I'm going to lose, I need to be, for this, I should be 24 inches on the back end. And on the front end, I'm going to lose that. And what's going to happen is if you put a 26-foot Grady White has a 28-foot draft, a 28-inch draft, excuse me. The boats are going to be bottoming out, not the floats. So what he's trying,
We don't want that, that's, I know- I see
you
your
don't want
point.
that, and it's also, we're talking like 6 feet. It doesn't really effectively pull the pier back adequately, and it ends up, we start bottoming out at low tide. And that's mean low tide, and that's not low tide. Low tide, I lose another foot. So, I understand what he's saying, but in the grand scheme of things, if you look at all the floats on the river, this is a fully permittable float pier system. And I don't see that as being a reason to deny it. I mean,
I'm just, like
I
I say,
understand
speaking
what
for
he-
the harbor master again.
I
He just,
do, and
let me
I-
speak, please.
I understand what he's saying. And we talked about this, but, like I said, if I pull this back here, then I start, because I'm on the slope, I'm gonna get 5 feet, 8 feet, the max. And I'm already behind the next two floats up the two systems up the river. And the channel's 200 feet wide. I know the channel marker is in the middle of the channel, but it is a 200-foot wide channel. And I think my client does not want to lose the ability to put a boat on here. So this is 8 foot by 10 foot, and this is 6 by 20. So there's a 30-foot float that exists here. And, I said a 26-foot Grady White. A 28-foot Grady White drafts, in 3 feet. A regulated drafts 3.5 feet. There's plenty, and if you have a boat that has not an outboard but an inboard, you draft even more. So your prop is down, and so by pulling it back just 8 feet limits the type of boat that you can put on the end of this. And,
I think now that I can speak my piece,
yes, absolutely.
the harbor master is just looking to have as much open water as possible. That's why he's always encouraging people to bring it back.
Understood.
Why don't we just leave it at that?
Okay, I mean, I appreciate that. There's nobody else to our east. We're the last pier on this.
For now.
On the river. For now, you could get, there are actually 2 other houses left. And then everything else is open all the way to the Kernwood. And, if you look at some of the other pictures that I've put forward, on the other side of the river, every single house has a pier. And they're way closer together than this is. And, I mean, this is like probably one of the most open spaces in Danvers that there is. And my client doesn't want to pull back any further and lose water, which diminishes what kind of a boat can be put on the end of the dock. And I know that it meets all of the criteria, and, state, federal, we're going to apply for a Chapter 91 license, and the harbor master is free to comment on that as well. If the state sees it his way, they won't permit it, but, I mean, it's fully permittable, excuse me.
Okay, that's all I have for right now, so, Mike, question?
Yeah, okay. What we're really talking about is that your client wants the ability to have a bigger boat or be able to use the boat more by being near permanent water all the time, correct?
Well, we're in permanent water.
Yeah, so, I mean, what do people do with shorter piers when they have a boat?
With shorter piers?
Yeah,
Well, it depends on where your water is.
yeah,
I mean, ideally, people don't want to be sitting on the mud flats.
well, you know,
I mean, it's not a matter of what, it's a matter of what the criteria are in the regulations. And the regulations spell out what needs to be met to permit a dock in a pier system.
well, I get that. We don't have a length regulation, and that doesn't mean we can't find that a pier is too long. I mean, there's other issues. There's other neighbors' riparian rights, there's the public trust, there's the habitat, there's interference with the rights of others, there's navigation hazards, all those things. The longer the pier, I think all those factors increase. Now, I'm not saying they're all going to happen, but the probability increases. And, you know, and to reiterate what our chairman has said, the harbor master has repeatedly, and this is something that's only come up since, I think someone came in and said, and we didn't really, I think as a board, didn't have a full grasp on what the impact was going to be, that it seems like everybody wants to come out now and have the longest pier and be in so-called permanent water all the time. There's, these waters, I mean, I understand they have riparian rights up to the high water mark, and they have the rights to the water. They don't own the water. And there's a public trust that I think is the overriding concern, is the public trust. Waterways are to be protected by local, state, federal governments for the public. Now, when his rights, because, oh, I want a bigger boat in the water all the time whenever I want it, kind of bounces up against that. And that's how I feel about it.
Okay.
Next.
Can I respond to that?
Sure, go ahead.
So it's not the longest pier out there. There are numerous piers that are much longer. And this pier will not impair or impede on riparian rights. We have plenty of setback distances. There's almost 7 feet of clearance underneath it if somebody wants to paddleboard, kayak. Our piles are spaced out. The next door neighbor has one. I counted them up, there's 40 piles on it. We have 14. So we're low impact on the tidal flats. We have plenty of clearance underneath it. We have, a fully aluminum decking system that is low impact on the environment. And we have access to the water. And, if you scroll back up, the next pier is further out, the next pier is further out. The Liberty Marina extends 4 slips into the channel. This is not the pier that's causing an impedance to people accessing the water or moving, enjoying the waterfront. This is really not the pier to pick out for doing that. If you want to look further up the river, there's a lot of congestion. Not here. This is not up the river. And we're trying to be protective and mindful of the environment. If we pull it back a few feet, it doesn't really change the navigational aspect of it. And in terms of the navigation, the Army Corps' guidelines, they're not regulation, but they're guidelines. We meet all of those in not just minimally. We meet them, we're not supposed to be 25% of the channel. We're 10%. And it's, my pier is only 20 feet long. But I'm never going to get to deep water, so what's the point? This pier can reach deep water. If I cut it back up here, then I'm sitting on dry mud. Everything's sitting on dry mud. And I'm not sure what the point is, honestly. And I understand what the harbor master is saying, but I think that the town needs to have a revision to their regulations that protects the specific things that you're looking at. And I don't think that this impedes on it. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
And I've permitted a few docks up and down the river in Danvers and Beverly, Salem and whatnot. Aside from maybe Burnham's dock, this dock meets everything that you could possibly want for a dock from a regulatory perspective.
Okay, all set, Mike?
Yes, thank
Paul.
you.
I have a question, but I'm not quite sure it's appropriate.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I just wonder, are there any, maybe this is to the staff, is there any aspect of precedence, is there anything that we'd be approving here that would lead towards, further, longer docks, piers down the road? I honestly don't know. if there's-
No, it's, excuse me, each project gets evaluated individually on its own. We wouldn't use one to set a precedent for
Okay.
another one.
Okay.
That's it?
That's it.
Lorraine,
I don't have any questions, I just have a comment.
go ahead, now's the time.
You met the regulations. Yeah, is there an issue? We have an issue, yes, but it's the town's issue. And it's come up before, we've talked about it before. So I think that you followed everything you were supposed to follow. And I know that the harbor master had made some recommendations that you also put in with curving, you know, the ramp a little bit. So, yeah, I think that you've done everything you could possibly do.
I mean, I think it meets all the, I know that it meets all the criteria of the regulations. And, you know, I hope we have a favorable decision on this in all aspects.
Okay. All set, Lorraine?
I'm all set. Thank
Mary?
I'm just going to say it meets all the criteria.
Thank you.
It does, we do lack the regulations about
I
these
mean-
pier lengths, and that's, we know that.
I think the town should, well, the town has certainly some opinions on it, and that maybe you should look at your regulations in the future.
I think they are, but there are competing interests.
are.
Okay, I think I more or less said my piece, that, you know, there is no regulation limiting the length, and we'll leave it at that for now. Is there any public comment? Mr. Bradstreet?
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. In my lifetime, the river's always been there. It changes somewhat. Over more than my lifetime, rules change. We're dealing with the length of piers and what have you. As was stated, I think it's about time we review and change the rules appropriately before someone changes them for us and makes it difficult for us to make proper decisions. To me, it's a time element and a update. And this is not the only board in town needs to update their rules. It's just, I'm here now, and my comment is, don't make a decision now that you won't be able to deal with in the future. I don't know what the period of time is, whether it's every 5 or 10 years, oh, whatever. The rules have to be gone over and revised for whatever. The river is getting busier and busier, more and more wharfs, piers, whatever. I think at some point a review is in order. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Okay. Thank you.
And
Is
we'll
there
just
any-
respond to that, if you don't mind, Mr. Chair. I think we could
Well, I think that we've already
consider a
mentioned that, and it's,
moratorium on permitting until we know what we're doing, what we're going to do with this.
So I do have a meeting coming up with staff as well as with town council to discuss. I mean, it wouldn't be relevant to this project. This is already in and submitted, so any changes would not impact this project, but it is.
That's
something
right,
that's on our
but
radar,
then there'll
too.
be another project and another, and we're not doing anything.
We are doing things. We are, we're working on it.
All right.
We are.
okay. Like I said before, I do not see a length regulation that would allow us to not approve this project. But the applicants, I'm sure, know, because with their advisors, that you still have to get your Chapter 91 license, and the length of the pier, I'm sure, in the harbor master's comments go as part of that application. And, I mean, I say this for every pier that we approve. I'm not sure where the Chapter 91 approvals lie at the moment, but that's a risk that I'm sure you know you're taking. And that being said, is there any other comments before we put it up for a vote?
We want to move to close the public hearing, and
Yeah,
there's
we will.
waivers to be granted, I think.
Are there waivers? I don't think so. I didn't even look at the memo, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, for the 35 and the 50.
Want me to do
Okay.
that one?
All right, so the first order of business is closing the public hearing. So someone can make a motion to do that?
I'll move to close the public hearing for 9 Jacobs Landing, DEP file number 14-1445.
Okay, now for waivers, we have two. First, we need to grant a waiver to allow work in the third,
I'm sorry, can we get a second?
We've just said.
We can get a second on that.
on the closing the hearing?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, thank
Getting
you.
ahead of myself. Motion been made and seconded. Do we have?
Yep, I'll second.
Aye. Okay, next up, we need a
All in
motion.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
See, it's time for a new chairman. Next up is a motion to grant a waiver to allow work in the 35-foot no disturb zone for 9 Jacobs Landing, DEP file number 14-1445.
I second.
I'm
There's no
just
motion.
asking for a motion.
You're gonna make it.
Oh, I make a motion to grant a waiver to allow work in the 35-foot no disturb zone for 9 Jacobs Landing, DEP number 14-1445.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
So that's 4-1.
4 to 5, yep, thank you.
Okay, next up, we need a motion to grant a waiver to allow work in the 50-foot no-build zone for 9 Jacobs Landing, DEP file number 14-1445.
I'll make a motion to
You
grant.
can just say "so moved" instead of making the whole motion. Just say "so moved,"
Oh, so moved.
and then someone can say "second." Okay, then, all in favor?
Aye.
No.
Be 4-1 again. Okay, and now a motion to issue an order of conditions for 9 Jacobs Landing, DEP file number 14-1445, with additional conditions as discussed. I think that one of the additional conditions that the harbor master has, that he wants Chapter 91 license numbers displayed.
Yes, yep, and those are all in our performance standards and that go into every order.
Okay.
Yep, so those will all be included.
So moved. Have I got that right?
Yes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Opposed? No. All right, so it'll be 4-1 again. Okay, so you have, your order of conditions is approved. You have 3 years to complete the project and go back for a certificate of compliance. And I think there are 1-year extensions available if you are not done within the 3-year timeframe.
Providing they come back and.
Yes, just please come back before it expires if you need the extension. If it expires, then you
Then you have
gotta
to
start
stop.
over. But please come back before it expires if you need more time, just in case.
Okay, going back to old and new business was a discussion for a chairman change. And I think at our last meeting, we had a kind of a.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Good luck.
Take care.
Hopefully the warm weather comes sooner than later for you.
Friday.
Yeah.
At our last meeting, we discussed it's time to rotate the chair, and I think we've asked several members. Mike was not interested. Is that-
No.
And Lorraine was not, and Mary says she is interested, and it just works out that Mary is probably the shortest remaining time in her term, so that's probably a good reason to make her the chairperson.
Yeah.
That being said, I think we just need a nomination, and we'll vote on it, and then
All right, I nominate Mary for chair.
Mary Height.
Mary Height, yes. Although I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. am I?
Height,
Aye.
Height.
Height, Mary
Yeah.
Height. I nominate Mary Height as chair, as the new chair for the Conservation Commission.
And Lorraine seconds it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
I'm really nervous.
Now that letterhead will have you as chairperson.
Oh, God.
No, you have to be available for quotes,
Yeah.
all the news organizations.
You know, adjourn?
Okay, so make a motion to adjourn.
No, he's just kidding. You don't have to talk to the newspapers.
Oh, I'm sorry, before we do that, is there anything else that we,
Next meeting is January 22nd. We have 2 agenda items. It's 80 Water Street that got continued, and then 20 Chevalier Ave for a new NOI.
Yeah.
the one that we just saw today?
Yeah, that we did
We
the
saw
previous
it
meeting.
today. Yeah.
They have an open order of conditions already. Can they have 2 open order conditions
They can,
simultaneously?
yeah, because it's for 2.
Different
Different
matters,
projects.
different
Okay.
projects.
Okay, someone make a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn?
I
That's good
second.
enough.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you
All
all.
right, everybody.
That was a